now, the House Minority Leader out of Cabell County, Delegate Sean Hornbuckle. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the show.
Afternoon. How are you all doing today?
Doing fine. I'm going to tackle something right out of the box of importance. The Cowboys open up the NFL season on a Sunday night against the Giants. As somebody who gets up at 4:30 a.m., I don't like Sunday night's game. You've got power. Can you, as my fellow Cowboy fan, can you get this changed?
I'm working on it. I just saw the news like you did today. Myself, Jerry, Mara, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to see what we can do. No promises,
okay.
But we're going to see what we can do.
You know, he said, "Can I introduce Hornbuckle? Do you care? I have something I want to say to him." And I knew. I was like racking my brain for a second, like what happened with the Cowboys overnight that I am unaware
He's a
of.
good man.
He is a good man. He really is. We're glad to have you on the show. All right. So the interims, because we can't get enough politics right now, the interims are May 18th, and you guys have a proposal.
Yes. We have a proposal. We are renewing our efforts to be called in for a special session to address our fuel prices. Gas and diesel, as everyone knows, is out of control, and it is out of control directly tied to the conflict that's in Iran that began in February. And there's a lot of uncertainty out there. And so West Virginians deserve, just to know what they're able to pay at the pumps and to be paying something that's fair. And right now it just isn't fair. And as a state, we can do something about it. I believe that along with the rest of my caucus, we have to do something responsibly. And that is our plan going forward to suspend the gas tax temporarily. It will be done on a 30-day basis. With the ability to reevaluate what the average prices are. And if those prices go back to what they were pre-Iran conflict, then we will resume the gas tax. If they are elevated like they are now, then we will suspend the gas tax and give people relief at the pumps.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear went ahead and did that via executive order. Have you been following that?
A little bit. And so when we first went down this road, per our legal counsel, we thought it would be extremely hard in our state to do that via executive order. And so that's why we began way back then in April calling for us to be called in to do it legislatively.
So that gas tax suspension, it's an emergency regulation, and it takes effect today. So the current gas tax in Kentucky is 26.4 cents per gallon. The emergency action cuts the tax down by 10 cents. What do you think to your critics? What do you say to your critics who are say, well, that's the money that helps pay for the roads?
It is the money that helps pay for the roads. As you see right now, the roads are still in disrepair. So we could probably be a little bit more efficient how we're putting that to use. But neither here nor there. That is an understandable response by some members of the public, to which we've already planned for that as well. We saw as last month, we came in yet again, which is a good thing, above our revenue estimates. That makes surplus dollars there that are unaccounted for. So we would propose to put our surplus dollars to any shortage to the highway fund, because that's important to us as well. We've got to fix those items. We also would propose, if there were not enough surpluses in that said month to be able to take care of any potential shortage, then we would look to other accounts, one of which could be the rainy day fund, and that is going off of the premise that this is an emergency because it's from an act of war, why we are seeing these elevated prices at the pump.
We're talking with Cabell County Delegate Sean Hornbuckle. He's also the minority leader in the House. So it sounds like you have a plan that's pretty well fleshed out. What kind of bipartisan conversations are you having?
So we know that, we talked a little bit about it at the end of session. And then in April, we really appreciate the efforts by the Freedom Caucus. Now, the Freedom Caucus is ever changing, the members of it. So it depends, I guess, on what the issue might be.
That was a good little laugh. We like that.
But they've done that. Again, we are super appreciative of them doing that. There are, I think, some appetite by some Republicans to do that. But unfortunately, this is also what we see in election years. People are scared of their own shadows, scared to do anything. So they haven't been, out front about it. But this is why we're here House Democrats. We're still the adults in the room, and we're going to keep pounding on the table to work in a bipartisan manner, again, to make sure that people are not getting gouged at the pumps like they currently are.
What other topics do you think will be discussed during the May 18th interims?
You know, I would hope we would be revisiting education. We know that this past session, we didn't do anything in regards to having guardrails on the HOPE program. That was something that we, the legislature, spent money on. We had a RAND report where we hired consultants, and their number one topic when it comes to education is that we need to take another look at how we were administering that HOPE program, and to make it, some suggestions were income-based, focusing low-income students, again, putting guardrails on it for what you could use it for. And I myself had a bill, as well as a couple other members of my caucus, to do just that. And so we think that's a responsible thing to do, because we see that our public schools are hurting right now with no end in sight, because we keep spending more and more money. And I think we lightly, because there's been, my caucus, we've voted against it. For sure. That's something that obviously we have to take a look at. I also think that we're not going to discuss this in a interim meeting. Of course, we know that, but we need to be taking a look at election laws and campaign financing. I mean, that has probably been more talk than the gas, unfortunately, is what's going on. But I would also challenge everyone that's reading a newspaper, watching the news, commenting on social media, or even you all on radio, we need to start asking delegates, well, how did you vote when it came to election laws? How did you vote, when we had bills up to allow more money into politics? How did you vote when it made it easier for people not to disclose who they are? And so I think that's what we probably need to be taking a look at as well, making sure that we have free and fair elections.
Delegate, what do you make of this? I know you've been keeping an eye on it, or on the Democrat side of the aisle, but you've been keeping an eye. You probably, I don't know if you've gotten mailers or not, but what do you make of this? What one person called a bloodbath amongst the Republicans?
It's a lot. It's a lot to unpack here. I mean, I'm not sure we have enough time here on the air. I mean, the first things first. You said you haven't gotten mailers. Well, I did.
Okay.
I got mailers back in 2012 when I first ran, and there was mailers of me that said, I voted for cap and trade. That's interesting, because I never served before. So it would make it really hard for me to vote on those items, whether I was for it or against it, right? And so part of me is like, I do find this very rich that it's all of a sudden it's an issue. So I don't, is that just because it's Republicans on Republicans in this primary? Because I know that there are several of my members and former members, a couple of my former members that are just working class folks that are not that because of lies that were peddled, but yet I did not see anybody complaining about the atrocity of the filth and garbage that was coming to them. And so I guess I'm a little bit interested to see why it's a big deal now. But I guess we probably already know the answer to that. But, again, it goes back to my first assertion that where were the folks, how did they vote when they were allowing more money into politics and voting to be able to, hide the identities and give corporations all this power? Where did they vote? And then we can have a conversation of what else is going on right now, but we need to have that conversation first.
Where will you be spending primary election evening?
I've bounced back and forth. We've got some really hot races across the state, in the judicial branches. So I'm going to figure it out. I've got a couple of invites, but I usually like to sort of stay a little bit low and prop up a couple of laptops so I can watch, different, news outlets as they're reporting. I'll probably be at my work office just so I can have access to the most available computer screens.
Love it. All right.
Well, remember, you only need two. You need one for MetroNews. You need one for 13. That's pretty much all you need.
No WSAZ?
I was just going to...
Come on. I'm going to tell Tim Ear on you.
Love Tim. All right. We're going to leave it there. I hope Tim has the best election day ever. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're back in just a minute. Delegate Sean Hornbuckle, happy primary eve. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your day. We're back in a minute.
We'll be right back.